So the first step is this. You need to go to your public folder and create, you remember CSS files, they go to in the folder of CSS, right? Images go to the folder of IMG, and JavaScript goes to a folder called JS. So we right click new and directory and we write JS, and inside this JS folder we create new file and I name it index.js. It's kind of a good practice. If you are attaching this thing to the index file, you name it the same thing to show that this is the index pages JavaScript file. Okay, it's a good practice. That's why I named it index.js, and it's here. Now I want to link my index.js to my index.html. You remember when you had a CSS, how did you link this to the page? And just drag it and drop it. Okay, otherwise you type the following: script tab, and then inside src, and then you say js/index.js. okay, so this is the way you link your scripts to your page. Now what does it mean my script is linked to my page? It means whatever I write inside the file will be executed inside my page. So if I write, for example, alert, welcome to JS to web user interface design, and I save this and I refresh it, what does it say? Welcome to web UI. So it means this page is basically linked to my index.html page. Okay, all right, now there is a problem. You see, did my page load yet? My page did not load. My page is empty. When I press OK and I press OK, my page loads. The script loads before the body. Now why is this bad? If I write inside my index.js something like this: document dot query selector, and I want to select the main. Okay, I want to select the div that contains the main, and I want to select the inner HTML, and I will say console.log this. What do you think will happen? I will remove the alert now. What do you think will happen? It will try to access an element with ID main, but it's trying to access when? It's trying to access the main before the page loads, isn't it? So this is a problem because the script is on the top and already this element is not created yet. Aslan, this element is not loaded yet, and if you try to access something that's not declared yet or created yet, what happens? Null, right? So the only way you can do it is either you cut your script and you go down here and you paste it there. Now what does that mean? Okay, after my main loads, I will run what? My script. Let's refresh. You see now I get what? The inner HTML of the main. Do you see that? So I have the inner HTML of the main because I put my script at the bottom. Now how can you avoid this? How can you tell the program not to run until the page loads? I want to say to my script, hey script, please do not run this code unless the whole DOM document is loaded. There is an event. So every page there is some event that run. So what is that event? I can put this on the top, no problem. I'll say this part of the code should never run unless the document is loaded. So the way you do that is you will say document dot add event listener, and in here you write DOM content loaded. This is an event that happens when the page is loaded. Now when this is loaded, you are saying please call this callback method, and inside the callback method, then and only then will I run this code. So I will not run this code in the beginning, I will run after the DOM is loaded. And now let's see, I will enter this, and you have to focus here. I get it, right? Even though my index is where? At the top of the page. Okay, so there is a way you can control when the index statement should call some part of your code. Okay, there are maybe parts that are working on the DOM. If they are working on the DOM, you want to make sure that the DOM is ready before you can do any manipulation or access. Okay, so whenever you see this statement, it doesn't mean anything, but it just means there are some part of the code I want to execute after the DOM is loaded. And it's a very good practice to always put your script where? At the bottom of the page, at the closing body above it. Okay, because we don't wanna block the page before our scripts run. Let the script run later and let the page load. Okay, now what are we going to do is, this is the step we want to do. First, we want to get all our accounts. Okay, I want to get all accounts from the server. So the way I do it is that I want to write a function that can get me this. So let's write this function, async function get accounts, and you give me account type, get accounts. Okay, so we use fetch, right? Fetch takes a URL, so we will say const data equals to await, then we say fetch. Now fetch takes a URL. Okay, let's construct this URL. So we'll say const URL equals to which of the URL links can get me account, slash API slash accounts slash the account type, right? So the account type, I can now make it variable, which means this, if you write all, it will say all. By the way, it should be question mark, right? And then account type equals to something, isn't it? This is the URL we use, and you can see it here. We write what? Slash API slash account slash account type equals to something, if saving, current, or something else. Okay, so we're basically copying this part of the URL and pasting it here. So this part is all the same. The only thing, this is a variable, and I'm putting a $sign, the variable that's passed to me. So if you pass to me saving, I will just put saving here. If you pass to me current, I will put current, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's what it means. Now I fetch this URL. What will I do with it? I'll just return this data. Whatever data I got, I can turn it to a JSON and return it back. Okay, now you know that every async function you have to write what? A try and catch. This is of course a good exception handling, and you have to do E, and everything else will go here. So if this goes well, we will go to this URL, we get the data from this URL, and we parse it. Okay, now we have something that can get us this account, and we can test it by doing the following. .log, first of all, you can say const accounts equals to await this And instead of type, now we can pass to it whatever we want. So in the beginning we pass to it what? All. Of course I cannot use await unless I change this guy to async. So we will change our callback method to an asynchronous, and we can await now. Okay, I get this account, and all I will do is I will say .log accounts, and let's go to our page, refresh it, and you see it loaded all my accounts. So this method is basically working perfectly. However, we don't want to use this method. This method could be used by anyone who want to get any type of accounts. We will create another method called async function, and we call it handle load accounts. All right, so handle accounts, you give me an account type, and in the main div there is the main element. I will load those accounts. You see the main here, there is a div called what? Accounts table, and in here I will be loading it here. Okay, so if you give me a type, I will load. So where will we use this method now? We will use it here. When the user clicks here on any of these buttons, and if they click on saving, what will we do? We will call our method, give it the value that is selected, get all the accounts that match the saving, and display in our element. There is this element called table. There is, where is it? Yes, you see there is account table. There is empty element called account table. Inside there we will display a table. So as soon as they change this to all, we call again, we repopulate table. When they click on current, we repopulate the current. Okay, so that's the idea. So first of all, we need to know how can we detect selection. How can I detect the thing that's selected in JavaScript? It's very simple. You go to your index page and type on change. So if you type on change and you type alert this dot value, I'm typing whenever some change happen, please alert that value that's selected. And remember, the options, what do they have? Value. This dot value is accessing which part? The value part. It's not accessing this text part. Okay, you have to remember that we are accessing the value part, which is this part. Okay, now when they select saving, what do you see here? Saving. Okay, if they select current, what can you see? Current, right? Now can we link this to our method get accounts? If we say this get accounts and we pass this dot value, what do you think will happen? It will be able to extract this one, right? It will be able to get those accounts. But we don't want to link it to get accounts. We want to link it to a method called add handle load accounts. So and why am I linking it? Because I want to load an HTML table. I don't want to load JSON. Okay, I know how to load JSON. So I will say handle load add accounts, load accounts. So handle load accounts will pass this dot value. So I'll say on change handle accounts this dot value. All right. Now let's go to this handle load accounts. The first step this guy will do is get all the accounts. And you know how to get all the accounts, right? Const accounts equals to await, thank you, get accounts, and I will pass the account type. Can I do this? Const accounts text equals to, if you do you know this method called join? Join is basically, it takes an array and joins it. If you put dash, it joins each element by dash. So if you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it will be 1 dash 2 dash 3 dash 4. If you put empty string, it will be, the joining will be an empty string. If you put a break between each of the element, there will be a break. Now let's do this, and after you do this, try to find the document dot query string, and let's find the table. What was the ID of the table? Accounts table. So do that, go to that one, and we want to find the accounts table. Remember, it's an ID, so we will put the pound sign. And then we want to change the inner HTML to what? To accounts text. Of course, it doesn't have any interesting thing here, but it will become more interesting soon. So if you refresh it, nothing happens, but when you press saving, you see, I see what? 3 objects for current. If I put saving, I see what? 4 objects. If I put all, I see what? 7 objects. Now the only thing left is what? To go inside these objects and extract the information and display it there. How could you do that? Easy. You remember the map? We had a map, right? So I will keep this one like this, and I'll try to change this same statement into a map. So what I will do is that, okay, by the end I want to join them with a break, but before joining them, let's map this array to a different thing. So we will map each account to something. I want to just extract the account dot, let's say, account number, and that's it. So if I do this and refresh now, and I press on saving, I'd see what? The account numbers. All, I see what? All the numbers. If I do current, I see what? The current account. So if we could only get this part to change to some nice HTML, which I don't know, maybe LIs, we could change them to LIs. So let's change this thing to LIs. If you use the backtick, remember the backtick? So you could do something like this: accounts, $, and I will say account dot account number. But before this, I will put an LI tag, and at the end I will put a closing LI tag. So if I refresh now, and let's see, saving, I see what? Dots in front of them. If I put current, I see what? Dots in front of them. So if you understood this part, now we want to kind of use tables. We don't want LIs, and we do not want just to display this account. We want to display a table that contains account number, account type, and balance. Okay, so let's do that. The way we do that is we remove this part of the code, and we will say, hey, for each of the accounts, change. So we will say account, we want account to HTML row. So I want to change, I want to call a method called account to HTML row, and I want to pass to it this account. So I want to create rows. Okay, some rows for each of my account. All right, then I don't want to, of course, join them with BR. I will join them with empty. Okay, now we don't have this method yet, so let's create this method. It's called account to HTML, and it takes account. So it's just a normal function, it's not asynchronous. Account to HTML, you will give me an account, and all I will do is I will return back for you a backtick, and then I will say, okay, what is a row? How do you create a row? I create by tr, and I close a tr, and inside the tr I will have what? A td, and I will have 3 tds. So this is a single row. The first part of the row, I want to give it $, account dot account number. And for the second one, I'll just repeat the first line 3 times, and then I will only change this part. So I can change to account type and balance. So if you give me for each of the accounts, I can map it for you into something that looks like this and return back that text for you. This way our map will not be very complicated, okay? If I write all of this code here, it will be very messy. So what I'm doing is that I'm putting it inside a function. So you give me an account, I can map it for you like this and give you back that account. And then by the end, you can assign this text there. Let's see what happens here. Refresh. So if I click on saving, what do I get? This type of thing. Of course, if you right click and inspect it, and you go to the body and go to where it says main, and you go to table, they are here. But of course, because they are not wrapped inside a table tag, if you have TRs somewhere without a table tag surrounding them, they don't make sense, right? Like you cannot write HTML without like TR without the table tag. So you have to put the table tag. You cannot write option without the select. So that's what we will do now. In here, like before we add the accounts text, you can actually put this, a quotation, table, quotation, plus, and then I can do plus. Of course, this is not what we will do, table. I just want to show you what we will achieve later, okay? So if you put table, and we know this text is all TRs, and if you see TR inside a table tag, what happens? It turns to a table. I will refresh this and saving. You see now it became what? A table. Because they were TRs. They only needed what? This tag was missing for them. Okay? Once we added that tag, they all became what? Rows. Because they were rows. Remember, for each of my account, I am turning it to what? This type of thing. And remember, map. Map is you map something to something. Square root of a number. We did that. Given a number, you can square the number using map. Given a number, you can change it to whatever thing you want. Okay? So given an account, we are changing it to this table rows. Okay? Now there is one thing missing. As you can see, our table doesn't have what? Headers. So headers are something static. As you can see, our code is becoming a little bit complex, so it's better to use what? The backticks. Instead of using the pluses, we can use the backtick like that, okay? So, and I will remove the pluses, okay? Let's rewrite everything. So I'll use the backticks, and I will type table, okay? And I know at the end I need to close the table. So I will close the table here by doing this table. In the middle of the table, I will have the first row, TR. And then inside them will be the TH, right? The 3 THs, because these ones, they don't change. So I will write account number. This is account type, and this is balance. Now, the next ones are not directly injected, right? They are where? They are all inside accounts text. So I will just use what? $, and I will write accounts text. And I can inject it like this. So everything inside there will be pasted here. And that's all. Refresh. And now if we select saving, what do we see? The headers with all the accounts. If we select current, we see the headers with all of the accounts. And I have one more thing here, that's what you see. It's that easy to link some events on your page to load and manipulate your DOM elements. And there you go, saving. I see saving. Now there is one thing. When my page loads, remember what we listened to? Handle. When the page loads, how do we know if the page is loaded? What's the event? There was an event that we said we listened to it. Yes, what is that event name? DOM content loaded. So there was this thing called DOM content loaded. So as soon as the DOM content is loaded, instead of doing this thing, what if we call handle accounts, await handle accounts, and we pass to it all? What do you think will happen? Automatically the table will show as soon as our page loads. And that's exactly what will happen from now on, because when I click here, my table will start showing automatically without even me touching anything. Because I'm saying as soon as the page loads, call this method with all. You get the idea now? Good.